Welcome to the deep dive. You know, if you look at how we usually talk about human attraction, it often feels like this huge highway, right? And it seems like it only goes to two places,
Yeah.
sex and romance.
Yeah, exactly. Everything else feels like it's off to the side somewhere. A detour, maybe?
Or just a footnote.
Right. But if you actually kind of zoom in on that map, it's not a highway at all. It's this huge, diverse landscape. So many valid places to be.
And that's what we're doing today, a deep dive into asexuality and aromanticism. These are two identities that are just essential, really, for understanding the full picture of human experience, but often misunderstood.
Our mission here is, well, to cut through the noise, synthesize the core ideas quickly, get past some of those really persistent myths.
So you can grasp these orientations for what they are, valid, inherent, not just exceptions, but like necessary threads in the human tapestry.
We want to go beyond just the dictionary definitions and really get into how connection works for everyone.
Okay, so let's start with asexuality, often called ace, right?
Right, ace. So basically, it's a valid sexual orientation. It's characterized by experiencing little to no sexual attraction to other people.
Sexual attraction being that sort of intrinsic pull towards someone sexual.
Precisely, that specific kind of pull. It's about the absence of that.
Okay, and right away we hit a big point of confusion, don't we? People hear asexuality and they immediately think...
But celibacy. Almost always.
Yeah.
And that's the distinction we really need you to hold on to. Celibacy is an action. It's a choice someone makes to abstain from sex. Maybe for religious reasons, personal reasons, whatever.
But asexuality?
Asexuality is an orientation. It describes an inherent feeling, or maybe more accurately, the inherent lack of that specific feeling. It's not choosing to ignore attraction. It's simply not experiencing that attraction in the first place, or experiencing very little of it.
And it's important to stress, this isn't just, anecdotal. Research actually backs this up as an inherent thing.
Absolutely. We're not talking about something that needs fixing or is seen as a disorder. Studies, like those from the University of British Columbia, they confirm it. Asexuality is recognized as just a natural variation in human sexuality.
Not a psychiatric condition. Not a sexual dysfunction.
Nope, it just is. It exists as part of the spectrum.
Okay, so if we accept that sexual attraction isn't like mandatory programming for everyone, then we have to look at that other big thread, romantic attraction. Which brings us to aromanticism, or aro.
Exactly, aro. So, following the same logic, if ace means little to no sexual attraction,
then aro means little to no romantic attraction, is that right? Like not feeling that desire for romantic partnership, the whole dating thing, the cultural rituals around courtship.
That's it, the absence of that specific romantic drive or pull. And while the research on asexuality is getting pretty solid, the specific study of aromanticism as distinct is, well, it's still growing. There are organizations like ARYA working hard to gather data, understand it better.
But the core principle is clear already.
I'd say so. Romance and sex are separate things, separate energies, you could say. And you can lack one or you can lack both, or experience them differently.
Which leads perfectly into the spectrum idea. This is fascinating. We tend to talk about orientation like it's a switch, on or off.
Right, but it's really not. Both asexuality and aromanticism, they exist on these huge spectrums. Think of it less like a light switch and more like internal dimmer dials.
The range of frequencies, I like that.
Exactly, and all those labels you sometimes hear within the ace community, for example, they're basically attempts to describe points along that dial. They're tools for more precision.
Okay, give me an example, like demisexual. I've heard that one. How does that fit?
Great example. Demisexual is a specific microlabel, under the broader asexual umbrella. So a demisexual person, they generally don't experience that initial sexual attraction, that sort of immediate physical pull society talks about a lot.
Yeah, the love at first sight kind of thing.
Right, that's typically absent. For a demisexual person, sexual attraction only develops after they've formed a really strong, deep emotional bond with someone first.
Ah, okay, so the emotional connection is like the prerequisite, the key.
Exactly. That deep connection, that emotional safety, it acts as the necessary foundation, the ignition, if you will, for any potential sexual feelings to emerge. It doesn't guarantee they will, but it's the only way they can.
Wow. Okay, that's a really critical insight. Because it totally challenges the standard story, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That attraction has to be instant, physical first.
Completely. The demisexual experience shows attraction can be conditional. It can be secondary. It can be rooted entirely in emotional closeness. It just deepens our whole understanding of how attraction can work.
And it highlights the diversity within the spectrums, too.
Hugely important. There was a study looking at asexual individuals, comparing those who are romantically inclined. They might want dating, partnership, romance, just not sex, with asexual individuals who are also aromantic, wanting neither.
And they found big differences.
Of course. Shared identity label, ACE, but potentially wildly different relationship goals, social needs, emotional drives. It proves you just can't make assumptions about what someone wants or needs based on one label.
Right. Okay, let's pivot now. Let's talk about the myths, because this is where, lack of understanding from the outside can cause real pain for people on the inside. And probably the biggest, most damaging one is this idea that being ace or aro must somehow stem from something bad, like trauma or some kind of dysfunction.
Yes. This is where looking at the evidence, the synthesis of the data, is so vital, because the research pushes back really hard against that trauma narrative.
So it's generally not a reaction to something.
In the vast majority of cases, no. These aren't psychological symptoms to be cured. They are inherent identities, foundational to who someone is.
Why do you think people jump to the trauma explanation so often? Is it just easier?
Well, I think society operates on this assumption of universality, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I feel sexual attraction and I feel romantic attraction, so therefore everyone must feel it.
Ah, right. And if someone doesn't, something must be wrong with them. They must be broken.
Exactly. That's the flawed logic. But study after study shows that many asexual individuals, for instance, recognize this about themselves pretty early in life. And that sense of self, that identity, tends to remain stable over time.
So it's not a phase,
Right.
not a temporary glitch.
Generally, no. It's just how they're wired, how they experience the world.
That reframing feels essential, because once you stop seeing aspec identities as something like missing or broken, you can actually start to see what people do want. And what they seem to want, just like everyone else, is connection.
Right. Absolutely. That is key. Not feeling sexual or romantic attraction doesn't mean someone wants to be isolated. Not at all.
So what kind of connections are we talking about?
Well, many people on the A spec, both ace and aro, put enormous value and energy into building really strong, profound connections. Deep friendships, close family bonds, maybe relationships you might term queer, platonic, intense, committed, non-romantic partnerships. They're seeking emotional anchors, stability, intimacy in their lives. Just maybe not through the lens that society holds up as the default romance or sex.
And if we tie this back to just relationships in general, there was that study you mentioned.
Ah, yes, from Michigan State University. Really interesting finding. It basically showed that asexual relationships involving asexual people, they thrive on the exact same foundations as any other successful partnership.
Which are?
Trust, open, transparent communication, and shared commitment. The same bedrock principles.
And that feels like the real mic drop moment here.
Doesn't it? It empirically shows that deep commitment, lasting partnership, genuine intimacy, they do not require sexual or romantic attraction to exist.
So the idea that you need those things for a deep bond, that's revealed as more of a societal script than a fundamental human truth.
Precisely. It's a construct, not a prerequisite for devotion or connection.
And that's powerful for you, the listener, because it broadens your whole definition of what a successful connected life can look like. It's about the quality of your bonds, maybe not the specific flavor of attraction involved.
Which brings us neatly to respect, because often, even when people mean well, they can say things that really diminish these identities. Harmful assumptions creep in.
Okay, let's call it out. The single phrase people really need to avoid.
Oh, absolutely. It's, oh, you just haven't met the right person yet.
Ugh. Yeah, that one.
When you say that, even if you think you're being encouraging, what you're actually saying is your current identity isn't real. It's temporary. You're just waiting for someone to come along and fix you, make you normal.
It completely negates their lived experience, their self-understanding.
Exactly. It implies their identity is just a placeholder until the correct, meaning sexual and romantic feelings kick in.
So the baseline has to be recognize the identity, respect it now, without waiting for it to change. That's just basic inclusion.
And visibility plays a huge role here, too. Imagine constantly being bombarded by media, by culture, telling you that everyone is dating, everyone is having sex, and you just don't feel that drive. It makes accepting yourself incredibly hard.
There's a big gap in representation, isn't there?
Huge. There was a report in 2023, I remember, highlighting that a significant number, something like 39% of people surveyed, actively wish they saw more aromantic and/or asexual characters represented in media.
And that's not just about people wanting to see themselves, is it? It's broader than that.
Oh, much broader. Positive visibility, seeing these identities reflected in stories, it provides cultural oxygen. It helps normalize the experiences for everyone. It leads to greater understanding, greater acceptance across society. It makes these conversations easier.
So, okay, let's say you're listening to this, and maybe this is all pretty new. Maybe the idea of not feeling sexual or romantic pull is genuinely hard for you to wrap your head around because you've always felt it.
Mm-hmm. That's perfectly understandable.
Is it okay to not fully get it?
Absolutely. It is completely okay if you can't fully subjectively grasp what it feels like to be asexual or romantic. You don't have to personally experience something to respect it.
So the key isn't demanding you achieve, like, perfect empathy or understanding.
No. The key is approaching these identities with respect, with an open mind, with curiosity maybe. Simply listening when someone shares their experience and saying, okay, I hear you, I believe you, I respect your identity. That act of validation, that's what makes a profound difference.
You don't need to understand the engine schematics to accept the car drives fine.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. Ultimately, learning about asexuality and aromanticism, it just enriches our whole picture of human diversity, doesn't it?
It really does.
It teaches us that commitment, love, connection, they exist in so many forms. They're not confined by a narrow definition or a presumed hierarchy of attractions.
Everyone's needs are different. Everyone's way of connecting or not connecting is valid. Whether you're seeking passionate romance or deep friendship, or maybe neither, your experience is whole and true simply because it's yours.
So we've looked at the definitions, we've seen the evidence pointing to their inherent nature, and we've kind of unpacked how connection itself works beyond just romance and sex.
Right. So we want to leave you with a final thought, something practical to maybe mull over. Given everything we've talked about, the inherent validity, the spectrums, the importance of connection, the next logical step isn't just sort of passive acceptance. It's maybe thinking about active support.
Ah, okay. Like how to be an ally.
Exactly. How do you actively support a loved one, maybe a friend, a family member, even a partner who identifies as ace or aro? How do you move beyond just saying, okay, I accept it, to actually being an informed, supportive presence in their life?
That's a powerful question to end on.
Because that kind of support, that validation, rooted in respect and a willingness to learn, that's the real foundation for truly inclusive connection, isn't it?